This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carannante.
Welcome to the Yanks Go Yard podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib alongside Thomas Carannante. It's an off day, and the New York Yankees won the series finale against the Cincinnati Reds, which is the best time to do a podcast because it allows us to reflect solemnly on all the garbage that happened beforehand without just spewing hatred, because they are coming off a win. It feels good when they win games. So what's the most recent memory? A shellacking, a Max Fried stopper mentality, 7-1, seamless victory. Almost no moments of consternation, although early on they left the runner on second with nobody out in the first. They loaded the bases with nobody out in the second and only got one, and it was on a one-out single. Every baseball fan knows this. If you're only going to score one in a situation where the bases are loaded with nobody out, it better be on an out that scores the first run. Better be a sac fly, right? But no, somehow they made an out, didn't advance the runners, didn't score. Grisham got the job done. But I'm not here to yell about that because the Yankees won yesterday's game by a lot of runs. We are here to yell about the previous games, though, because it's always, man, so many predictable bad losses and extra inning losses, especially on the road. It's like hard to pick a favorite child. It's hard to pick one that makes you the maddest. But I think Tuesday might have been the answer because of how we got to the finish line. Some of the imagery from that game, I'm not going to forget for a long time, or at least I'm going to try to forget it, but then I'm going to come back to it in moments of darkness and be like, oh, this looks a lot like Tuesday in Cincinnati. Like, that is the first non-Red Sox game or non-Rays game of the year that I'm going to think back to and go, oh my God, I was so furious on Tuesday in Cincinnati. It's Aaron Boone. It's the angriest Aaron Boone's made me this year. It really sucks that June swoon rhymes with Boone. Just sucks for Aaron Boone in general that the month of June, when the team always swoons, just happens to rhyme with his name. It's way easier to say it. Pulling him at Carlos Rodon, pulling him at 88 pitches, it just stinks. It just stinks so hard. We're going to talk that, Jazz ejection, actual beef with Jose Trevino for some reason, a rotation flip for the weekend, and a top prospect going ham at AAA. Thomas Carannante, how are you doing?
I'm all right. As you can see, I've checked myself into an institution. White walls behind me. Can't handle it anymore. No, I'm fine. 7-1 victory yesterday. Again, it dulls the pain a little bit, but the same problems are there. This team is awful in extra innings. The stats are there to back it up. We'll go over those. The runners in scoring position. Even last night in a game that they win 7-1, right? 4 for 22 with runners in scoring position. I don't even know how you get that many opportunities with scoring position to putting runners in scoring position to begin with.
1 for 8 in the first 2 innings, which is something I don't think I've ever seen before.
8 strikeouts in the first 9 outs. So, like, there's your problem. Brady Singer, good pitcher. Don't think good enough to sit down 8 of the first 9 batters via strikeout, or 8 of the first 9 outs via strikeout, because the Yankees obviously scored 3 runs. But yeah, you look at some of the bullpen decisions that we can go over in extra innings. You look at pulling Carlos Rodon, and then Carlos Rodon talks in the post game about how it was probably time to pull him. There's, again, a lot of justified anger. Maybe it's misdirected. Maybe it's not being fully pinpointed. You have Michael Kay go on his show. He defended Aaron Boone against pulling Rodon and called it more of a cultural baseball issue because we have the arbitrary 100 pitch count that now that's it. You get closer to 100, you're done. We had a separate conversation about Clarke Schmidt. He was at 103 through 7 innings. It was time to pull him, not going for the no-hitter at that point. But I still think, there is something to be said. Like, maybe throw him out for the 8th, see what happens if he has an efficient inning, and we're talking about keeping him under 125, and that could be possible. Great, but not even a conversation in this day and age. So I understand where some of this frustration comes from. But you have that first night. I would say that maybe there were more reasons to be upset with this game, potentially, just because you had more Anthony Volpe issues on that play with whatever the hell that was. You go 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position. It's just a tough scene all around. The lineup doesn't, again, strike when they need to or pick up their teammates when they need to. And then the Tuesday extra innings loss was just more emblematic of those problems being magnified. So I don't even know where to begin, but I don't like that the Yankees. I mean, I do like that they won yesterday. I don't like how now we're talking about this after a win, but again, this cold streak that they're on right now is not ending. They are they're temporarily putting on band-aids, and then they are getting ripped off at the most inopportune time. So it's not they're 11-12 in June, right? Something like that, 11-13.
I believe it's 11-12, but like really skewed because they swept the Royals on the road. I mean, they had moments of brightness. They are now 4-9 since the slop really started, which is dreadful.
Yeah, absolutely. So like, and again, I think the most pertinent thing to talk about with this team right now is that there have been and it's not just June, right? So like some years I look back, dating back to 2021, and the problems don't always begin in June. It's usually a comprehensive June through August situation. Mm-hmm. And the reason that it's officially a concern now, I mean, if it hasn't already been for most fans, I think it's been a larger talking point. But if you look at how 2022, 2024, and now this year are transpiring, it's a major indictment potentially on whatever it is, whether it's Aaron Boone, whether it's the messaging in the clubhouse, whether it's leadership. I don't know, because those are three completely different rosters. 2022, completely different team than we saw in 2024, completely different team than we're seeing in 2025. So we've gone through three different maybe veteran presence, like cohesive veteran presences in this clubhouse. We've gone through three different like complete roster constructions. If you 2024 completely different from 2022, and 2025 is the most different from all of those. So what is the problem? Where is the pinpoint? And obviously I think the easiest cop out that everybody's conducting right now is they're going after Aaron Boone. So I don't know where you're standing here, but that's pretty much the biggest glaring aspect of it for me, because if you've had three different chances with three completely different looks to make this adjustment and you haven't, then I don't really know where else to point the finger.
Yeah, the bad news for the June swoon people is that, like you said, 2022, like July,
they went 22-9 in June that year.
Yeah, July and August was awful. I mean, they lost I think the real accurate portrayal, it's not June, it's whenever they have to play the Red Sox. Like, that's just how it is. People are framing this recent downturn as I think it was a Max Goodman tweet of like the Yankees got the Red Sox, Angels, Orioles, Reds, and went X and X, and they're right. It was 3-9, and now it's 4-9. Or technically they beat the Red Sox one other time, so it's 5-11 counting the other Red Sox series. But the Red Sox play us tough every year. We also played the Red Sox with Rafi Devers. We played the Red Sox on an unholy heater. We played an Angels team that beat us 3 out of 4 and then just swept Boston. So either they're terrible, they're both terrible. The Yankees should have beaten both. The Yankees should have beaten neither. Like, I'm not really sure how to handle that at this point. I'm getting too much information, and it's not helping me clarify who sucks and who's good and who's competent, who's on a heater. The Reds were on a heater coming into this series, and they also started Chase Burns against us in his major league debut in the second game.
Reds are a good team, I think.
Yeah, I think they're a good team too. I think they'll be in the wild card mix, and maybe the Cubs will let them back in the Central. But the Yankees did more than enough to take this particular series. Yeah. And the Yankees did take 2 out of 3 from the Orioles, which rage all you want about the opening game of that series. That's the only series of this cluster that was just a normal series, right? Yeah. Game 1 did not go your way. Deeply frustrating. You left a lot of runners on, early lead, got evened up, couldn't tack on. Bullpen lost it for you. That's baseball. They rebounded and won the next 2. 1 on a late comeback. It pretty much equalized and erased the first. 1 on a near no-hitter by Clarke Schmidt. So that Orioles series, fine. 2 of the games were a tough watch. They split them. They were both coin flips, and they won one imposingly. That's fine. The bummers are, obviously, the 3 straight shutouts are indefensible. The way they hit with runners in scoring position in this Red series, the way they lied down and died whenever they faced the Red Sox is ghastly, but it's the Red Sox. You can always tie this team's struggles back to Boston. Last June, Jose Trevino, our old friend and new enemy, got run over on Sunday Night Baseball. Anthony Rizzo got literally run over. He got his arm broken. The Yankees took the first game of that series, got embarrassed in the next two, and then went on a 2.5-week losing streak. 2022, they won the first two at Fenway, and then, blew a lead late in the third one. Alex Verdugo walked them off. They blew another lead in extras and then got embarrassed in the finale there. And then from that point forward, they were horrific for several weeks, spreading into August. And there were also all sorts of Band-Aids in that stretch, too. Remember the Josh Donaldson walk-off grand slam against the Rays? Oh, we're so back. Never mind. We're still losing. We can't stop losing. Losing is our favorite thing to do. Pin it on Boone. Pin it on Aaron Judge. Pin it on a weird lineup that always seems to go as Aaron Judge goes, no matter how Aaron Judge is going. It's the strangest phenomenon of this Yankees team. He's obviously incredible, but he's not going to be hitting 400 all year. And if you can't hit at all or take care of business when he's not hitting 400, then you're not a finished product as a lineup and a team. And I'm not sure what's going on, but I'll give kudos to the people who deserve kudos. Max Fried in a Cy Young battle with Tarek Skubal. Give me Max Fried. He's an ERA under 2. It's insane. And he showed up yesterday exactly when he needed to and went 7 innings. First 4-hit game of Jasson Dominguez's career yesterday. And now a guy who we've said he may not be a switch hitter at all, can't hit against lefties. First 42 plate appearances, 083 average, 381 OPS. Last 39, 324 average, 855 OPS. Play this man. Give him playing time. Too many good outfielders, not a bad thing. Trent Grisham, also great yesterday. 4 hits, came through in that second inning when nobody else did. Yep. And Carlos Rodon gets credit for me. Devin Williams does too, although some people didn't like that he said he's a 1-inning guy. But I don't know, folks. Like, if it's working, why mess with it? I'm not going to mess with it. It's working, and he's been great. So
what outside of Michael King in the last 5 years, what multi-inning reliever has worked out for the Yankees? We saw Mark Leiter Jr. try to do 2. I mean, that was Aaron Boone's fault to try and make him do 2 during extras. That turned out poorly. Why are we trying to force people into roles where they don't fit? We had this issue with it wasn't fully that, but like when Jay Happ was like, I don't want to be I don't want to piggyback an opener, and I don't want to be in the bullpen. And they were like, well, great, fuck you anyway. And look how that turned out. It cost us a playoff series. So like, I don't know why anybody would even be arguing against what Devin Williams is saying. Now that he's finally hit his stride, like, that's where it's hard to talk about this, because now we have to, we're going to talk about topics that are worthwhile, like being angry about. And then like, we have to be like, all right, stop taking it too far now, because what are we doing? But that's frustrating for sure.
Well, I think you have to do whatever's best for a pitcher, and whatever you're doing in June is best for Devin Williams, because he's been incredible. So that's sort of the end of my take there. I don't have much of a take. Yeah, that's what you want. You should have that. He's not doing a Josh Hader, as far as I can tell, saying never use me for like a playoff game. We'll see. I don't want to use him for over an inning, though, if he thinks he's bad. If he thinks that's a bad way to use him, we'll use Luke Weaver for that. We'll see. But Rodon was incredible for 6 innings. If he said he was done, then I guess we have to reevaluate. It certainly sounded like Clarke Schmidt said he was done in the no-hitter, but he did reach 103. He got through 7 innings. So, hey, if Rodon's backing up his manager, fine. I wasn't in the clubhouse, and I yelled at people for talking about the Schmidt decision, especially after Schmidt. Slow recovery. He's pitching on Saturday now instead of Friday. They had to do a rotation switch. This is the second straight start he's struggled to recover from. So for everybody railing about recovery time, why couldn't he have pushed it to 9 innings on 140 pitches? 2 straight starts of slow recovery. They were careful with him in the spring. There are things we don't know that are going on in that locker room. And so, caveat to say, there are things we don't know that are going on in that locker room. Maybe Carlos Rodon was fully done. Maybe he told Boone he was fully done. But that, in the moment, was the angriest I've been at Boone all year. It's the softest and dumbest thing I've seen this team do. And it doesn't stop at the 88 pitch pull, right? In comes Jonathan Loaisiga. Should the bullpen be able to hold a 3-0 lead in the 7th inning in Cincinnati against a team that is 0-30 when trailing after 6 innings this year? Absolutely. But in comes Jonathan Loaisiga. He doesn't have it. Got to the first out.
Does he ever have it?
I'm not a fan. Puts the next 3 on base. And at that point, 4 batters, 3 are on base. He's got nothing. He can leave the game. You can take him right out of the game. You've got a guy with a 620 OPS batting under 200 in Christian Encarnacion Strand coming up to the plate. I think it's safe to say Loaisiga ain't got it today. Let's go to Fernando Cruz. Well, what happens? Loaizaga throws 2 more pitches, gives up a bases clearing double, leaves the mound with a trainer. He's hitting his chest. He's like thumping it, indicating he's maybe got breathing issues. He doesn't come to the field yesterday. He stays home with a sickness, with an illness. He's going to travel and be with the team, I guess. But here's a compromise, Jonathan Loaizaga, in the heat that took Rodon out of the game early, and he's loaded the bases. You should know he's sick. You've got to know he's sick. If he's sick, that's an important caveat for the people in charge of giving him workload to know what's going on there. But apparently the Yankees think, okay, let's keep chancing this. Well, never mind. He blew the lead in 1.75 seconds. Now he can lead with a trainer. And in comes Cruz to clean up the mess, and he does so spectacularly. You bring in Cruz for Encarnacion Strand with the bases loaded and 1 out. You don't think twice about it. Now they go to the bullpen an inning too early. They use Cruz just to get out of that inning. But again, if that's the plan, then use him for all 3 outs. One batter earlier, make it worth your while, because you take him out, you've burned Loaizaga, you've burned him. Then you have to go to Weaver in the 8th. He was great. Williams in the 9th. He was great. And now you're out of relievers. And now you're in extra innings. And the Yankees are not winning a road extra innings game unless they score 3 runs in the top of the 10th. Spoiler alert, they scored 0. Mark Leiter Jr. somehow gets through the bottom of the inning without any run scoring. They score 1 on a wild pitch in the top of the inning, but they go back to Leiter Jr. because they're out of dudes. If you had if you had let Rodon go 7, then you're more than, if disaster strikes, you have more than enough dudes to get you through extras. But at this point, they used 2 guys to cover 1 inning, but they didn't even let the 1 guy cover it right. The lead is already blown. Now we're gasping for air because the Yankees can't hit, and they don't hit. I'm going to put some blame on Aaron Judge here too. If you are Aaron Judge, if the team goes as you go, win me that baseball game in the top of the 10th. Do not pop up the 1-1 pitch. I'm going to need an example pretty soon of Judge coming through in a situation like that. Love Aaron Judge. Just going to need an example. Right. Here are the Yankees in extra innings this year. I never want to see this stat again because I never want the Yankees to play an extra inning game again as long as I'm on Earth. Hitting 063. They have 32 at-bats. They have 2 hits. They have 1 extra innings win this year, and obviously none of those are on the road. I don't know if this is real or if it's just a theory, but the Yankees' objective shittiness in these extra innings games with the Manfred runner really does smell to me like a process issue where they're like, we're not going to see this in the postseason. So why would I prepare for this or care? Right? Like, I can't think of any other reason why they would just be so incompetent. And Boone admitted that's on John Boy that sometimes he tries for multiple runs. Sometimes he plays for 1. It's situation dependent, depending on who's in the bullpen and who's coming up for the other team. Whatever it is, if you're mixing up your strategy from game to game, I don't see it. If you're being, versatile and you're trying to change your plan of attack, it's not manifesting and wins. They lose every road extra innings game. It's become laughable and more laughable the ways in which they do not score. And the Red Sox one, Anthony Volpe just took himself off the bases. Ooh, do they have a chance to survive this extra innings game at Fenway? They don't even have a ghost runner anymore. They got rid of him. This one, Austin Wells pops out on like the first or second pitch, and you're just like, wow, crazy. Like I said out loud.
On not a strike, too.
I said out loud that they're probably not going to score here because they never do. It sounds fatalistic, but then they go ahead and do something like that, and you're like, oh my God, they really are so unbelievably bad at this and never get any better. And it does feel like it's a Cashman management issue where they're like, why would we focus on strategies? I mean, it's just a regular season game. What's it going to happen 10 times in the regular season? It's a coin flip. We'll get lucky. We'll win 4 of them. And then when the playoffs roll around, we'll never see this again. So why would we prepare for this? Why would we care? And that's the thing the modern Yankees do all the time is I don't understand. Why would we do a strategy adjustment for a regular season set of circumstances that we won't see in October? We'll just take the win or we'll take the loss and then we'll move on. You got to win games. You got to yearn and breathe to win baseball games.
It's a really good theory, and I do support it to an extent, but then at the same time, it's like they don't address runners in scoring position. Like they don't have play historically, at least over the last 5 years. They have not had a lot of players who hit to contact. They do not have situational hitters. They do not bunt. I mean, the easiest way to get a run in extras is to bunt the runner over and then just put the next ball in play. And like the Yankees are predicated on hard contact, right? And then when the extra innings come, it's either there's no contact or there's pathetic contact. So it's just bizarre. And that also happens when there's runners in scoring position. It's swing and miss, pop up, double play ground ball, weak grounder. And it's over and over again. And then you look at, defensive stuff too, right? Like the Yankees can't be sitting there being like, oh, runners in scoring position and defense, that doesn't matter that much in the postseason. We just have to pitch well and hit home runs. And it's like, well, you just lost the World Series because your defense couldn't hold up and because you didn't deliver with runners in scoring position when you needed to, over and over again. It wasn't as bad as what we're seeing now. I mean, but either way, like they're 12-27 in extra inning games since 2020. That's the worst record in MLB over that span, but I don't even think that it has anything to do with the ghost runner. It has to do with this team winning close games and performing in the clutch. And again, you wrote about on the site how the clutch factor stat, they are last in baseball. And I think that validates a lot of the fans' fears because some of this stuff you can't quantify. For example, we talked about Aaron Judge a couple of weeks ago. He went down in a couple of big at-bats late in the game. We saw it in the Orioles series where it was just a non-competitive at bat against Felix Bautista. And it's just like, all right, I don't want a home run there, but like, can it not be 0-2 to 1-2 to strike out so quickly?
There's no easier thing to say from our chair than just like Aaron Judge has to come through all the time. Yeah. And I understand that. Yeah. But at the same time, superstars got to be superstars. Like he's got to be feared in those situations. He can't come through all the time, but I'm going to need more examples to cite when people say he doesn't come through than the grand slam against the Red Sox last year, the walk-off against Toronto in 2022. It just like occasional bases loaded opportunity or second and third, one out. He had the bases loaded and one out after the Trent Grisham hit in the second inning yesterday with a chance to really blow the game open. And he really blew instead. He did not do anything. He is in the worst stretch I've seen from him since, summer 2017 when he had that home run derby shoulder issue. Like it's really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not good. And you look at his high leverage stats from this year though, and whatever those metrics are, they say that they're really good. And again, it's like a lot of the Yankees wins this season have either they've triumphed a lot in one-run games, which has been a positive, but more so that's been a testament to their pitching because in those games they're not scoring any runs. And secondly, I don't even know what's considered high leverage anymore because I don't think we've seen Aaron Judge in a ton of high leverage. He's been piling on runs early, getting the offense started, which is incredibly valuable and something that we'll never take for granted, but it's about a balance and a mix. And typically when we see him in a lot of these pressure pack situations where it's like, okay, we need a hit here or we need something to get started. It doesn't get started and there's a strikeout and there's just a complete misplay or a misread of the situation. And that's where you're just wondering what's going on? Because again, extra innings games, just because you're losing in those games and we're talking about the ghost runner, I don't think it has anything to do with the ghost runner. I think it has to do with, okay, me as a player needs to step up. Do the Yankees have that identity top to bottom in the lineup? And I just don't think they do. Because again, if you want to date it back to 2020, we're 4 iterations of this roster since then. The roster has seen major turnovers 3 or 4 times over that 5-year span. So this is not a problem of the Yankees of yesteryear or the Yankees of 5 years ago. This is an ongoing problem with this Yankees team. And the only common denominators over that span, literally the only ones are Aaron Boone, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, DJ LeMahieu. That's it. So DJ LeMahieu has barely played over the last 5 years. And the other 3 have been prominent figures. And I know Stanton came through in the playoffs this past year and it changed his Yankees legacy, even though they didn't win. But that's the core of this team. That's been the identity core of this team. And we're seeing the same problems. So that's where the extra innings becomes an issue for me because it's not about the ghost runner. It's about, we need a run here. We need something started, but who's going to do it? Everyone's looking at somebody else to do it. It feels like.
And you just, as a fan, like scoring feels impossible. Scoring against bullpens feels impossible. Like guys come in, I go, I'm not sure this guy's Arsenal. He's got a 4.84 ERA, and then he comes in throwing 97 with a 91 mile an hour slider, and you're like, they got no chance. They're not going to touch this. And kudos to beating Brian Baker the other day. That's a strong reliever, but more of that. Aaron Judge is a bona fide Hall of Famer. Aaron Judge is going to finish either first or second in MVP this year. And if you say he's not a bona fide Hall of Famer, well, he's at 10 years now, and he's at 58.3 total WAR already. He's like a middle of the road Hall of Famer if his career ended today. It's insane what he's done in such a short period of time. But the one thing Yankee fans should stop doing is citing, like, dude, he's third in playoff home runs. Like, stop telling me he doesn't perform in October. We don't need to do that. Like, we've all seen him in the postseason. He hasn't performed well in October since 2019. It's fine. It's fine. He has time to correct this in his legacy. But Yankee fans making themselves look stupid when they cite like home runs in the playoffs or some other, like, a stat that theoretically in a vacuum looks impressive. We've all seen the complete picture.
Playoffs. I mean, I don't want to bring it up. I hate talking about it, but it's like that. Forget about the home runs. It's the totals. He's hitting 205 with 86 strikeouts in 58 playoff games. That's terrible.
He has not been good in October yet. He has not had a playoff run since 2019 where he's been respectable or representative. We don't have to lie and manipulate the stats to say, well, he's great at, the home runs have carried over. Kind of, sure, but he's been bad in the postseason. Bad. You make yourself look bad when you manipulate stats that way. So fingers crossed we see a good one this year. We may see in a fun World Series, Jazz Chisholm against Jose Trevino. Probably not going to happen, but I would sign up for more Yankees Reds. And we tried to write about this because Jazz got ejected. He lost his mind. And I thought he was going to get ejected when he took the 2-0 pitch low and it was called 2-1. Maybe the game is different if the umpire umpires that correctly. We'll never know. It was clearly ball 3. It was absurd. He was right to lose his mind. And usually they eject people just from mouthing off. Yeah. So I thought he was about to get ejected right then and there. I definitely thought he was about to get ejected when he gave away the rest of the at-bat, went back to the dugout and started screaming some more. But the umpire let him live. And I was like, oh, great. Okay, so he survives, right? He gets ejected when he comes back out to the field the next half inning, and it's because Jose Trevino pointed the umpire in his direction and said, Jose Trevino's version is just, hey, he wants to talk to you. He's trying to get your attention. Jazz's version is he was talking to himself, and Trevino said, hey, go look at this. And Jazz didn't get ejected until he saw the umpire staring him down, and he went and freaked out some more. Aaron Boone blamed Trevino. Trevino had some strange stuff to say. Our favorite, it is what it is. Seemed to indicate that he did, in fact, know what he was doing when he got Jazz ejected, but didn't want to talk about it. Trevino was using Rodon's walk-up song. He was using his old teammates' walk-up songs. He was having a laugh. And then he, in a bout of gamesmanship, took a Yankee chess piece off the board. I think Aaron Boone has every right to be mad about this. I think Jazz has every right to be mad about the call. I think Trevino had every right to do what he did, but I don't understand why Trevino is now angry. He knew what he was doing, and it was the right move, and I would be proud of any Yankee who did it, gamesmanship-wise. But why is Trevino upset trying to defend a thing that he obviously did?
Because he's a former Yankee, and this is what they all do. Trevino batting fucking 300 this year, no defensive issues, apparently. So, like, again, did a 180 on his Yankees career in a way that nobody expected. I think, that post-game interview was something else because I loved Jose Trevino when he was with the Yankees. Obviously, there were frustrating moments trading. His defense, can you hear me? Yep. My mic came unplugged. Sorry, guys. His defense started to crater, and you're just like, all right, this guy's unplayable, and we have a really good rookie catcher that we want to try out. So, like, let's do that. And the Yankees made the decision to trade him because he had rising arbitration costs and it wasn't worth it anymore. But we have known Jose Trevino as like the fun-loving teammate, the guy who would always give a good post-game interview, very candid, very honest, very jovial. And then he's like being a hardo last night where he's like, yeah, it is what it is. Like Aaron Boone can say what he wants, or like, what am I going to do? Fight Jazz Chisholm? We were former teammates. It's like, at no point did anybody ask you that question. They asked if you knew what you were doing when it was clear, like, there's video, dude. You were smirking. You directed the umpire toward Jazz's direction and agreed. Great strategic move. Like, he knows his old teammates. He knows his old team. If you're trying to catch an extra advantage, like, he pulled it off. He got the Yankees' hottest hitter right now, Jazz Chisholm, ejected for extra innings, and it very well could have cost the Yankees the win. Don't pretend like you don't know what you didn't do. Don't pretend like now, like you're Mr. Tough Guy and you don't care what anybody says. Like that's not who you are. That's not who you've ever really been. So it's just really bizarre to see it, but it also doesn't surprise me because this is every former Yankee. Every former Yankee now has a chip on their shoulder. Every former Yankee has to slight the organization in some way because they didn't like how things ended. And really, it's usually their own fault. Like we never support the way that the Yankees truly do business. But like if Jose Trevino thought he had a future in New York with Austin Wells breathing down his neck and how he played in 120 games over 2 years because of injuries and an inability to perform, like just give me a break. As for Jazz's like excessive nature of the ejection, it makes sense now. It was a bad look, I think, in real time when you didn't know what actually happened. Because again, we didn't find out until 24 hours after the fact or close to that this was the reason where Jose Trevino instigated the ejection. And usually I'm against these types of things because it's a player. What do the Yankees do? What is the worst version of the Yankees? The worst version of the Yankees is when they're playing bad baseball all around. Bad defense, sloppy fundamentals, sloppy play, uncompetitive at-bats. And on top of that, they're jawing at the umpire for every borderline call. And that's where you're just like, if you're putting yourself in a position to either be mad about this or for the game to be decided by the umpire making a bad strike or ball call, then you're just not doing your job, man. So just stop. Like enough is enough. Same thing in all other sports where like the game is coming down to a singular referee or umpire. And if you're doing that on a regular basis, it's you who's failing. But Jazz, I think, now that I see that the eruption was warranted, I support it. And two, even if it wasn't because of that, because of the Trevino instigation, I think that because he was the hottest hitter on the team at this moment in time, and because this Yankees team has largely been lifeless over the past 2.5, 3 weeks, like sometimes you need that. And sometimes it can't come from the manager. So frequently it comes from Aaron Boone. And like, I think that there's just an expiration date on how much your manager can motivate you with an ejection. I think you need individual players to do that at times and show their anger and show their flair to, help provide some inspiration or wake other people up on the roster. And I think that Jazz did that, and I'm not against it at this point now, especially that I know all the details. He let his voice be heard. He thought he was done wrong. And again, it was an egregious call. Could it have changed the game? Maybe. I don't know. Would have been a walk. Who knows? But I think that in the aftermath, like the Yankees need more of this, and they don't get it a lot from their star players, which is sometimes frustrating. You never see Aaron Judge get frustrated. You never see Giancarlo Stanton get frustrated. When you see Garrett Cole get frustrated, it's a little bit embarrassing because his meltdowns are like, let me get mad at Billy Crystal, or let me frustratingly intentionally walk Rafael Devers with nobody on base and do it in a bizarre way. So they don't have that type of fire from their main core, from their highest paid players, from the guys who represent the organization. So the next way to get that is from the second tier guys. And if it's going to be Jazz, it's going to be Jazz. Like, I'd love to see somebody else do this. I'd love to see Trent Grisham get animated. I'd love to see who else is like able to do this. Cody Bellinger can, Paul Goldschmidt can. Obviously those guys are newer, but it's a little bit harder, and the rest of the roster is young, so they're not really there yet. But in years past, when this team was laden with veterans, you never really saw that type of fire. If Jazz can provide it, then great. I'm going to support it.
I am too, and it was justified. Although, again, luckily the take brigade slowed down. The Yankees win the finale, and people sort of stopped focusing on it, except for the weird Trevino stuff. Great. You want to do that kind of action? Ball's in your court. Yankees and Reds don't see each other again, but it would be fun to do that in the World Series, maybe, possibly. You want to talk about former Yankees? Here come the A's to town after a much-needed off day. 16 games in 16 days, followed by a Thursday breather. And now former Yankees in every single game of this A's series. JP Sears, Mitch Spence, and Luis Severino on the mound. We definitely faced two of these guys when we went to Sacramento, too. Sears and Sevy, I know. Mitch, I don't remember if Spence was in the middle game, but the Yankees go bump Schmidt back one day. He's supposed to go Saturday. Fingers crossed he actually does, because if it's just bumping him back one day, great. If it's more than that, yikes. Will Warren on Friday. And Sunday remains a TBD. It's the Yarbrough spot. Is it Alan Winans? Is it Marcus Stroman, who gave up 10 hits and 5 runs and 3 2/3? Hopefully not. It won't be Cam Schlittler because he pitched on Wednesday, but shout out to him at AAA. If you just know him as a 7th round pick from Northeastern or a guy who carved through the low minors like a Drew Thorpe type, well, he's throwing 99 now. He faced Justinson Garcia and Christian Campbell, who you may remember from the Red Sox yesterday, who went 0 for 6 with 4 Ks off of him, 3 of them Campbell, but that was Wednesday. Brian Hoke said he may be an MLB factor, could be an MLB factor for the rest of the year. He said that today in a
Give me
tweet.
that.
So give me that, feed me that. But for anybody who wants to see him on Sunday, just know that's not going to happen. He started yesterday. Instead of the Tuesday game, he would have needed to have started to be a factor. So it's going to be Winans, or it's going to be Stroman, or it's going to be a bullpen game. It could be unpleasant, but it's the A's. It was the Reds. These are all teams I'd rather be facing than the Orioles and Angels and the stupid Red Sox. And the big series is 4 games in Toronto starting on Monday. So we'll see you on Monday's show before that to preview it and see how the weekend turns out. Back in Yankee Stadium for 3 days only. For some reason, that was a good idea, according to schedulers. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the Bronx against the A's, against 3 ex-Yankees, with a Sunday pitching matchup to be determined. And then the 4 Yankees pitchers who we know, as long as everyone stays healthy, Fried, Rodon, Schmidt, Warren at Toronto. Got to split that. Try to win that. We will see you on Monday to preview it all and wrap up the weekend, whatever goes down. I'm Adam Weinrib. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Weinrib, Thomas Carannante. Where can the people find you?
At Tommy's_takes. We are at Yanks Go Yard FS. Hit us up, yanksgoyard.com, the website, content for you, never ending. We'll see you guys Monday. Enjoy the weekend.
Enjoy it, everybody. We will see you right back here, 2 o'clock Eastern time on Monday on the Yanks Go Yard YouTube channel and on all your favorite podcast platforms thereafter. Until then, let's go, boys.